Beautiful Lagos, hey. Land of mercy, land of success. For Lagos, everything is done change. I say Governor Body is doing a great job. Street lights all over Lagos. He's bringing out the beauty in Lagos.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Lagos This Week, where we showcase the activities of Governor Akinwumi Ambode, members of his cabinet, private sector and development partners at home and abroad. I'm Funke Adesoji. For Nigeria to meet its growth ambition and achieve full economic potential, concerted effort must be made to create at least 4 million jobs annually, and policies that stifle development must be jettisoned. Governor Ambode spoke on that during the 9th Annual Bankers Committee retreat of the Central Bank of Nigeria held in Lagos, where he also asked the CBN to reduce lending rate on 200 billion naira MSME fund. We have the report for you. Governor Ambode also presented a 1.46 trillion naira 2018 budget proposal to the House of Assembly. 67% went to capital expenditure, 33% for recurrent expenditure. The government is targeting 720 billion naira from internal generated revenue. Stay tuned for that breakdown. Federal government completes handing over of Presidential Lodge Marina to Lagos State government 20 years after. And Governor Ambode on Wednesday officially unveiled an ultra-modern recreation park in Alausa in Ikeja in honor of 3 former governors of the state. These and other stories in a moment.
Governor Ambode is doing a great job. Street lights all over Lagos. He's bringing out the beauty in Lagos.
Welcome back. We begin this week's episode with the opening session of the 9th Annual Bankers Committee retreat of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) held in Lagos. There, Governor Ambode said it was time for the government to review policies that inhibit growth and as well as come up with a functional low-cost financial system for all Nigerians. According to him, all hands must be on deck to create more jobs for the people and ensure a 6.7% growth rate and low-cost access to banking services, especially through mobile money.
Economists have stated quite strongly that for Nigeria to attain its potential, we need the economy to grow by 6.7% a year. In fact, the CBN governor recently stated that we need to grow by at least 6% per annum because the population growth is almost 3%. This is critical if we are going to move the needle in reducing poverty, preventing social unrest, and unlocking the full potential of this country. We need the CBN and NIDC to work together with the banks and other players in the system to decide together what type of financial system will really impact on employment and bring more people into the formal financial system.
The federal government recently set up an interagency committee headed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to look at the possibility or how to improve access to finance by small and medium enterprises, or as well as what we can call some corporates, particularly those who are focusing on the manufacturing sector of the economy. Part of the outcome of this meeting will be to develop a framework that will enable this happen.
Capital expenditure will have the most share in the 1.46 trillion naira 2018 budget proposal presented by Governor Ambode to Lagos State House of Assembly. The budget christened Budget of Progress and Development would be used to consolidate on achievements recorded in infrastructure, education, transport, traffic management, security, and the health sector. Outlining the key components of the budget, Governor Ambode said capital expenditure will go up 699.82 billion naira, while 347.039 billion naira will be dedicated to recurrent expenditure, representing a capital-stroke-recurrence ratio of 67% to 33%, and a 28.67% increase over 2017 budget. The governor further said there must be a consolidation of the economic gains made so far by initiating people-friendly programs and projects that will attract more economic improvement in year 2018.
The proposed budget is christened Budget of Progress and Development. It has a size of 1 trillion, 46 billion, 121 million, 181,680 naira. So 1.046 trillion. The budget will be used to consolidate on infrastructure, education, transportation, traffic management, security and health, with an added emphasis on mandatory capacity building for civil servants, all teachers in public secondary and primary schools, officers in the health service sector, and women and youth empowerment, alongside our medium and small micro-sized entrepreneurs.
General Public Services gets 171.623 billion naira, representing 16.41%. Public Order and Safety, 46.612 billion naira, representing 4.46%. Economic Affairs, 473.866 billion naira, representing 45.30%. Environmental Protection, 54.582 billion naira, representing 5.22%, while Housing and Community Amenities got 59.904 billion naira, representing 5.73%. The Commissioner also went further on the budget breakdown.
Health, the current expenditure of 60 billion, capital expenditure of 32 billion, and total expenditure of 92.7 billion, representing 8.86%.
However, this House will not rest on its oars in scrutinizing this budget to deliver on its promises in meeting the aspiration of the people. As usual, we are duty-bound to painstakingly look at the nitty-gritty of the budget for the purpose of transforming same for the benefit of all Lagosians.
The federal government on Tuesday completed the final handing over of the Presidential Lodge, Marina, to the Lagos State government. That was about 20 years after the journey to actualize it commenced. Governor Ambode saw the developments as a sign of collaboration between the federal government and Lagos State. He was optimistic that it will be the beginning of a process to get such assets back to the state government. He promised that his administration will put the edifice to good use and transform it into a national monument to boost tourism and grow the economy of Lagos and Nigeria.
On a day like this, is my predecessor and then the present Minister of Works that is actually doing the final handing over, of which he also has been part of that process to get this asset back to Lagos. But in God's own doing, is positioned today to actually do the final documentation and the final handover, and we're very grateful, Honorable Minister. Our intention is to turn that particular asset into a national monument where we can christen it a national heritage center for leadership, and we'll be able to use it also as a tourist center to bring Nigerians and tourists and foreigners to come into Nigeria, and also use that as a means of improving on the economy of Lagos State and in Nigeria in particular.
This is a long journey that has come to an end. It is a journey that has taken almost 2 decades, when the Lagos State government continued to ask that this property be vested in it for reasons that remain difficult to understand. It did not happen. But a president of change, a promise keeper, has made this happen. And so, whilst the Lagos State government has already taken possession, handed over by the presidency, we are here to formally sign and exchange documents that will make the state government's rights to the property unimpeachable going forward.
A conglomerate of 30 French businessmen met with Governor Ambode during the week. They were promised a robust return on their business investments in the state. The French businessmen were headed by the French ambassador to Nigeria, Denis Goa. The governor highlighted transport, logistics, energy, food security and health as key areas where partnership with investors were welcomed.
The city is the main African city. There are many challenges to cope with, logistics, transportation. So amongst our investors. One of them will be the Blue Line. So I'm sure some of them are interested in port development, basically my company. So we are sure that French companies will thrive to develop your city and your country. Basically, I think the people should have the most decent life as possible. So thanks to these utilities, the life will be easier. People will be more focused and will live longer and come more and more to Lagos, to your city. You know, your city is an attractive city, the most attractive in Africa. So you should make it the brightest city of Africa.
As a country, we have had a great relationship with France, even if this slowed down some time back. We know that there is nothing called language barrier because everything is just more about business. We hope that with this and what we have to offer, we can spare the revival of this relationship and the ushering of a stimulating cooperation between Lagos and France. As I always say, Lagos is open for business, and I call on the French business community not to miss on the real and great opportunities that actually exist in Lagos State.
Lagos, unarguably, is the safest place in Nigeria. And I think our investment in infrastructure investment have started paying dividends. Just about 3-4 weeks ago, the World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking was released, and Lagos, Nigeria, moved 24 steps, which is the single largest it has ever moved. I can assure you that our target is probably now to move another 50 steps forward. I think that is an international endorsement that we are going in the right direction. So I think we are doing our best, but we count on the support of seasoned investors like yourself from France and from all over the world to keep trusting in us and to come back and come and invest in Lagos State, and we will not disappoint you.
Because of the investment, the huge investment the governor has made, and the corporate community in Lagos. I mean, the business community in Lagos, they have made substantial contribution to the Security Trust Fund, and it's helping Lagos in a very huge way.
Improving security through technology, intelligence and community participation formed the highlight of the 11th Town Hall meeting. Governor Ambode was in attendance. The importance of the Security Trust Fund was also in the front burner. Speaker said the fund has played key roles in assisting security agencies operating in Lagos State.
This is therefore a time when we take stock of our activities and rededicate ourselves to this child of circumstance, as we collectively resolve to take our destiny in our hands.
With the support of the fund and the Lagos State government, from an analog communication system to a digital system, which means that their walkie-talkies and their base radio sets must be changed to digital radio sets. Also, higher quality drones are required. And all other security operatives also require standard kitting and equipment such as water cannons, automatically deployed barriers, anti-riot gear, and so on.
As Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Lagos State, I recall that I mobilized the joint security operation involving the informal policing sector, by which I mean vigilante groups such as the Onyabo, the Odua People's Congress led by Gani Adams, and other security agencies such as the DSS, Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps. And of course, we had a series of meetings in the command, and we came out with a blueprint on how to tackle the menace. I'm happy to inform you, we were able to bring that problem under control. As I speak to you, we still have our eyes on Ikorodu, and we are carrying out joint patrols regularly.
Be assured that the Lagos State government is committed to rid our society of those that opt for crime. Our continued provision of equipment and logistics for the security agencies operating in Lagos is evident of this. Our government will also continue to provide state-of-the-art infrastructure in order to achieve our vision of making Lagos a safe, prosperous, and smart mega city. As responsible citizens and worthy stakeholders, you also have a crucial part to play for the enhancement of security in the state. This was put in the speech, but it's part of what is in response. Please install CCTV cameras in your various organizations to help expand the reach of law enforcement agents in the event of any security breach. We still need your continued support in providing equipment and logistics for the police and other security agencies through your contributions to the Lagos State Security Trust Fund.
While the clamor for state police was brought to the fore with focus on the peculiarity of Lagos, exploring technology intelligence gathering, many agreed was the right way to go. The high point of the meeting was the presentation of awards to donors to Lagos State Security Trust Fund as well as servicemen in the last 10 years. Also in the week, Governor Akinwumi Ambode gave kudos to religious leaders for religious tolerance in the state, recalling that the state has enjoyed harmonious peace in the last 30 months since he assumed office. The governor said this at a party attended by religious leaders predominantly from the Christian and Muslim faith. He also said that prayers and support for his administration was pivotal to the steady progress that has become synonymous with Lagos.
We have since decentralized the celebration of Eid al-Fitr parties, which was held for the first time in all the local governments across the state, after I had hosted Ramadan lectures throughout the month of Ramadan. The same feat was recorded during the Eid al-Kabir festival. I am pleased, therefore, to announce that this year's Christmas party will be held in all local governments across the state. We have just achieved another first in the country by being the first and only state to have decentralized the operations of the Nigeria Interreligious Council, NIREC.
Act of worship is goodness. The prophet was asked by Jibril when he came for an induction in human form. He said, Fakhbirini anil ihsan. Tell me what is perfection in humanity, what is goodness. He said, serve God in everything that you do. In your interactions, in your discussions at work, at social gathering, that you must do things according to the biddings of God. Because he sees you all the time. So you would have to worship him in all things that you do because he sees you. And the third thing is to avoid sins. We all know what is good. When we are doing good things, we want everybody to see us. But when we are doing things that are abominable, that are detestable, you want to guide, you hide somewhere, you don't want people to see you, but can you hide away from God? No.
May I plead that all of us, even those of us who are leading mosques and churches, leadership is complex. Political leadership is difficult. In righteousness and fear of God, divine assistance is always available to those who trust God. Wisdom for leadership comes from God, and that is the purpose and the essence of the passage read, that only God gives wisdom for leaders.
Now on infrastructure development. Governor Ambode has disclosed plans by the federal government to demolish Jibo and Coastal bridges in the state. The governor said the project will be executed for the good of the residents and boost the economy of the state.
So the issue is this: we want to do a bullet train that runs from Apapa Port to Ibadan. Wow. It's not new, it's federal government. And they've already started. They've started in the Ibadan axis, they've started in the Ebute Metta and Apapa. But again, they had to stop in Lagos because I did not agree as to which of the bridges. From Jibo, Ikorodu Road, going to Yaba, you know that steel bridge. So the idea is that the steel bridge will have to go. So that's the one they're talking about. So they will now build a flyover coming from that fella's shrine, which will now land towards the turning that you are going towards Wayak. So that no vehicle crosses that rail track. And I think they will start the construction of the flyover as part of that project themselves, maybe next month. So just we'll do as much as possible to manage traffic. But again, that's the way to go. So the second one, if you are coming from Coastal and you want to go towards National Stadium, the bridge is not visible, you will not see it. It's just in front of that company around that Costain area. It looks like a road, but there's a rail track under it. So with the new construction, the headroom for the train will not be able to contain the train itself. So that particular space will have to go. So they will reconstruct a bend, a new bridge, while we're still using that one. When they finish, we will now break that headroom because we must now increase the level to allow the train to be able to pass under. So a little bit of discomfort, not too much, but again, it increases the economy of Lagos.
Lagos State Government begins the removal of structures on the right-of-way to pave way for the ongoing construction of the Pen Cinema flyover in Agege local government area, as well as major network of roads in the state. According to the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Abiola Anifowoshi, the removal of the encumbrances is to pave way for the infrastructural upgrade for the socio-economic growth of the state. The Commissioner urged all affected property owners to submit the following document for the ease of processing the payment of compensation by the state government: certified registered title documents of properties, approved planning permit for the affected building, and other relevant documents.
I say Governor Body is doing a great job. Street lights all over Lagos. He's bringing out the beauty in Lagos.
Finally, we wrap up this week's episode of the program with Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode officially unveiling an ultra-modern recreation park at Alausa in honor of the three former governors of the state, Brigadier Mobolaji Johnson retired, Alhaji Lateef Jakande, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The governor who spoke at the ceremony said it was part of effort by this administration to immortalize heroes who have worked hard for the emergence of Lagos as not only the center of excellence, but also of the most prominent city-states in Africa. According to him, the three former governors were outstanding in the development of the state.
The roles played by Brigadier Mobolaji Johnson retired, the first governor and military administrator of the state, Alhaji Lateef Jakande, the first civilian governor of Lagos State, and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, governor and architect of modern Lagos, can never be forgotten. They are the true legends of our state and architects of the Lagos we are all proud of today. Mobolaji Olufunso Johnson retired, laid the foundation as the pioneer governor of the newly created Lagos State in 1967. He constructed the 60.7-kilometer Lagos-Badagry Expressway, linking Nigeria with countries in the West African sub-region, the Toy-Ikin Bridge linking Mepe and Ikorodu, the Eko Bridge, and a network of roads and bridges that opened up the new Lagos. Alhaji Lateef Kayode Jakande was the first elected civilian governor of Lagos State and held office for 4 years. His tenure witnessed the introduction of masses-oriented programs, particularly in the areas of education, housing, and health sectors. Apart from the successful implementation of the free education program, his administration established new neighborhood primary and secondary schools and also constructed over 30,000 housing units in different parts of the state for the benefit of low-income earners. His tenure also witnessed the completion of the general hospitals in Bagada and Ikorodu, as well as the establishment of about 20 health centers within the state. Alhaji Lateef Jakande conceived and initiated the Metro Line transit system that would have provided a solution to the challenge being experienced in the transportation sector today. Our leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the architect of modern Lagos. His tenure witnessed the development of a blueprint for the future development of our state, and which successive administrations have continued to build upon and actualize today. One of the remarkable achievements of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration was the reform of the state tax administration system, which resulted in the state attaining the status of the most viable and self-sustaining state in Nigeria. He also made huge investments in education and initiated new road constructions required to meet the needs of the fast-growing population of this state. Asiwaju also established the institutional framework which ensured that the state was properly and efficiently run. It was under his government that institutions like LIRS, LAMATA, LASMA, and many others came into existence. We have decided to honor these illustrious heroes and patrons of our state while they are still alive through this beautiful garden that has been named the JJT Park, Johnson Jakonde Tinubu Park. It is our expectation and hope that this garden will be a constant reminder to all of us of the sacrifices of these our heroes and the need to protect and preserve the virtues of our heroes and what they stood for. More importantly, it will serve as a reminder and a source of inspiration for all other leaders who will have the honor and privilege to occupy the seat that was once occupied by these great men of history.
It's bringing out the beauty in Lagos.
That's how far we can go on the show. Stay tuned next time for another episode.
Land of mercy, land of success. For Lagos, everything is done change. I say Governor Body is doing a great job. Street lights all over Lagos.